You just declared war on the galaxy's deadliest creatures. Congratulations. Ships from hundreds of planets were docked in its bays, some sleek and metallic, others organic in design, shaped like shells or great floating trees. In the main conference hall, representatives of dozens of alien civilizations gathered, their forms varied and strange. Some had hundreds of eyes, others communicated through sound waves, colors, or subtle vibrations. All of them had one thing in common: experience. Experience with a galaxy that was as dangerous as it was vast. And then there were the humans, 22 of them. Small, soft-skinned, unarmed, and entirely inexperienced in interstellar politics, or so the aliens thought. Their ship, the Odyssey, was modest in size and made of polished titanium, with engines designed for exploration rather than war. But humans did not rely on size or strength. They had something that no one here could dismiss so easily: curiosity, courage, and brains. Dr. Leora Kane, the human scientist leading the delegation, stepped forward. Her short brown hair was tied neatly, and her eyes glimmered with excitement. Around her, holographic displays flickered to life, showing images of a planet called Viewership Prime. It was beautiful and terrifying. Towering rock spires floated above glowing rivers, strange plants emitted soft lights, and enormous creatures prowled the land. These creatures were known across multiple systems as deadly predators. Even the toughest alien species avoided them. Leora's voice was calm but firm as she addressed the hall. "We are humans. We have traveled across the stars to study life, not to destroy it. Today, we will demonstrate a new technology that will allow us to interact safely with creatures that others consider unstoppable." A murmur ran through the crowd. Some aliens were curious, but many were skeptical. A massive insectoid being clicked its mandibles. "You are small, fragile, and naive," it said, its voice a low hum that vibrated through the floor. "Do you really think you can handle the beasts of Viewership Prime?" Leora smiled. "We don't plan to fight them. We plan to understand them." From the back of the hall, a four-armed alien journalist laughed, a sound like metal scraping metal. "Congratulations," it said with dripping sarcasm. "You just declared war on the galaxy's deadliest creatures, and you call that understanding?" Leora ignored the sarcasm. She tapped a panel, and a holographic sphere appeared, projecting a device they called the Eco-Simulator. It was small, about the size of a human head, but it pulsed with light and energy. "This device," Leora explained, "allows us to observe and interact with these creatures without causing them harm. It can analyze their behavior, predict their actions, and even communicate with them in subtle ways. Our goal is to learn, to adapt, and to survive." The aliens scoffed. Many whispered among themselves. How could humans, soft and small, survive against monsters that could tear through metal and stone? How could their puny devices match the raw power of nature? Leora ignored them. She had faced disbelief before and knew it was part of the process. Humans had always thrived when no one believed in them. It was in their nature. "Preparation is complete," she said. "We leave for Viewership Prime at dawn." The aliens did not stop her. They could not. Humans were free to do as they pleased, and so the Odyssey prepared to depart. By the next morning, the human ship glided silently through the starfield, leaving the safety of Elysium Hub. Inside, the crew moved efficiently. Engineers checked systems, scientists prepared instruments, and navigators plotted the course. There was no panic, only purpose. Among them, Leora walked through the corridors, stopping occasionally to smile or speak to a crew member. "Remember," she said, "this is not a fight. It is a test of intelligence, patience, and understanding. The creatures are dangerous, yes, but fear is not a weapon. Knowledge is." Her words echoed the mantra humans had lived by for centuries: brains over brawn, thought over instinct, curiosity over caution. When Viewership Prime appeared on the ship's monitors, the crew fell silent. The planet was more magnificent than any image or story had suggested. Giant floating spires rose above luminous rivers that twisted like serpents across the landscape. Forests glowed with bioluminescent plants, casting strange shadows. And then there were the creatures. Massive forms prowled the land, their shapes shifting as they moved. Some had multiple limbs, others had wings that glinted like mirrors, and all of them radiated power. The first scan confirmed what the legends had said. These were apex predators, unmatched in strength, speed, and cunning. One misstep could mean death, but humans were not here to step blindly. Leora gathered the team. "We go in small units," she said. "We observe first. No sudden movements, no threats. The eco-simulator will keep us safe and help them understand we mean no harm." As the first shuttle descended, the crew's excitement was palpable. They were explorers in a universe that had always underestimated them. Every alien in the galaxy thought humans were weak. Today, they would prove otherwise. The shuttle touched down on a rocky plateau. Dust and small stones tumbled under its weight. The crew disembarked carefully, scanning their surroundings. The air was breathable but thick, carrying a sharp metallic scent. In the distance, a shadow moved. A creature appeared. It was enormous, taller than any human building, with 4 muscular legs and a long, whip-like tail. Its skin was dark and textured like molten rock, and its eyes glowed faintly. The humans froze. The legends had not done it justice. The eco-simulator hummed, projecting a soft, pulsing light. Leora stepped forward slowly. "We are not here to hurt you," she said aloud, though she was not sure if the creature could understand. The device translated her words into subtle vibrations and color patterns that the creature might perceive. For a long moment, nothing happened. The creature tilted its head, observing. Its movements were careful, deliberate, as if it was measuring the humans, judging them. Then it moved closer. The humans held their breath. It stopped a few meters away and lowered its massive head, sniffing the air. Leora mirrored its movements with the eco-simulator, sending gentle pulses. The creature hesitated, then relaxed slightly. A cheer rose silently in the minds of the humans. They had made contact, not through weapons, not through force, but through understanding. Over the next hours, the team observed. They discovered patterns. The creatures communicated with each other through vibrations in the ground and color shifts in their skin. They had hunting territories, but they were not mindless killers. They were intelligent, cautious, and aware. Leora recorded everything. "Every creature has a mind," she said. "We don't need to fight them. We need to think with them, not against them." Back at Elysium Hub, the live feed showed the alien delegates their disbelief. Some watched with open mouths. Others whispered furiously. The humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. That night, the humans camped on the plateau, sharing observations and ideas. They laughed quietly, not from relief but from wonder. They had faced the galaxy's deadliest creatures and found a way to coexist, if only for a moment. Leora looked up at the stars, her mind already planning the next day. Tomorrow would be harder. They would move deeper into the creatures' territory where nothing had ever survived. But humans had a gift others did not: creativity, patience, and the willingness to learn. And that, she thought with a quiet smile, was the real weapon humans carried into the galaxy. The sun of Virilox Prime rose over jagged mountains and glowing forests, painting the world in shades of gold and green. The humans moved cautiously, their boots crunching on rocky ground as the crew of the Odyssey ventured deeper into the alien planet. Each step was a careful study of the terrain, each breath measured against the thick, humid air. "Doctor." Leora Kane led the way, the eco-simulator strapped to her arm. The device pulsed softly, scanning the environment and transmitting gentle signals to the creatures nearby. Its purpose was simple: to communicate, not to command; to understand, not to control. "This planet is incredible," said Kai Rivera, the young navigator, his voice full of awe. "Everywhere you look, something alive is observing us." He was right. Shadows moved in the forests. Shapes flickered over rocky spires. Eyes glimmered in the distance, reflecting the human light. The crew was careful to make no sudden movements. The humans knew that on Vrylock's prime, patience and observation were their greatest weapons. Their first encounter of the day was unlike anything they had expected. A creature approached from the forest, its movements deliberate. Its body was long and serpentine, covered in shimmering scales that reflected the sunlight in fragments. Two enormous wings, folded tightly, brushed the ground as it moved. Its eyes were intelligent, scanning the humans as if measuring their thoughts. Leora activated the eco-simulator. Gentle pulses of light spread outward, forming a soft pattern on the creature's body. The being froze, then tilted its head. For several minutes, neither side moved. And then, almost imperceptibly, the creature shifted its scales in response to the pulses. Kai whispered, It's responding, it understands." "Yes," Leora said softly, "not with words but with understanding. This is how we survive, this is how humans thrive." Over the next hours, the humans observed the creatures closely. They noticed a pattern. These predators were not only territorial but intelligent. They had routines, preferences, and ways to communicate that went beyond instinct. By mimicking these behaviors through the eco-simulator, the humans were able to build a silent dialogue. One of the more surprising discoveries was how the creatures worked together. Two massive quadrupeds, larger than any building on Earth, coordinated to cross a river. One nudged floating debris to form a bridge while the other guided the smaller animals across. The humans realized something astounding. These creatures were not solitary killers. They were communities with strategy and logic. "This is amazing," said Dr. Malin Joe, the xenobiologist. "We always thought survival meant fighting and dominance, but here it's cooperation. They are teaching us something without even knowing it." Their exploration took them deeper into the forest. Strange plants glowed in patterns that seemed like a natural code, possibly used by the creatures to navigate. Small flying beings, no larger than humans' fists, zipped around, carrying tiny fruits to nests in the canopy. The humans recorded everything. Every gesture, every movement was data, but data alone was not enough. Humans had to think creatively. They had to reason, not just observe. Midway through the morning, an unexpected situation arose. A young creature, curious and unaware of the human's presence, wandered too close to a cliff edge. It teetered precariously, risking a fall that would surely be fatal. Without hesitation, Leora signaled the team. Using a combination of eco-simulator pulses and hand movements, they guided the creature back to safety. The creature paused, then looked at them with eyes that seemed to express recognition. Kai murmured, "Do you think it knows we helped it?" "I don't know if it knows," Leora said, "but it recognizes that we are different. That's enough for now." The humans spent the afternoon mapping the creature's territories. They discovered hidden valleys, glowing caves, and floating islands tethered by massive vines. The deeper they went, the more they realized that Vrylock's Prime was a world designed for survival, not chaos. Every creature, every plant, every rock had a purpose. The humans were learning a truth that many species ignored. Intelligence could be found in forms humans might never imagine, and understanding that intelligence required patience and empathy. As evening fell, the humans set up a small camp near a luminescent river. The creatures maintained a cautious distance, but they did not flee. Some even lingered at the edges, observing the humans as much as the humans observed them. Leora gathered her team around the campfire, a simple device emitting warmth and light. "We are learning their language," she said. "Not spoken words, but gestures, patterns, and signals. They are not monsters, they are sentient, and understanding them is the key to surviving here." Dr. Joe nodded. "It's incredible. Every action we take must be thoughtful. We cannot assume aggression is the answer. Intelligence is the answer." That night the humans slept lightly, alert to every sound. Yet there was no sense of fear, only anticipation. Tomorrow would take them further into unknown territory, where nothing had ever survived for long. The next morning, the humans moved toward a region known to be especially dangerous, the Shadow Valley. Here, cliffs rose high and twisted, casting jagged shadows across the land. Rivers of molten liquid flowed between the rocks, releasing heat that shimmered like a mirage. Every step had to be measured. Every movement could trigger a response from creatures far stronger than humans. As they progressed, Leora noticed an unusual pattern. One of the predators they had observed the day before appeared to be following them, not aggressively but with curiosity. It stayed hidden among the rocks, studying the humans' movements. "Look at it," said Kai. "It's watching, learning." "Yes," Leora said. "And we must do the same." The humans stopped to observe. The creature, massive and winged, hovered just above the cliffs. It moved in a rhythm, almost like a dance. Leora mirrored the rhythm with the eco-simulator, sending soft pulses that mimicked its movements. Slowly the creature began to descend closer. The humans froze. This was the moment of truth. The creature landed several meters away, its massive wings folding like delicate paper. It blinked, shifted color, and then slowly approached the humans. Every step was cautious, every motion deliberate. The humans held their ground, waiting. And then, with a small, almost imperceptible gesture, the creature extended a limb. Leora responded with a gentle pulse. A connection had been made. "This is extraordinary," whispered Doctor Joe. "It's not just communication, it's recognition." The humans continued, carefully moving deeper into the valley. They discovered caves with intricate tunnels, plants that pulsed with light as if breathing, and creatures that seemed to anticipate their movements. It was clear that the predators of V. Rylox Prime were not merely surviving, they were thinking, planning, and learning. By mid-afternoon, an unexpected event tested the human skills. A sudden tremor shook the ground, sending rocks tumbling down the cliffs. The humans acted quickly, guiding smaller creatures to safer ground and using their tools to stabilize precarious boulders. The predators, far from attacking, assisted in subtle ways, nudging obstacles with limbs, shifting rocks to create paths, and guiding frightened animals. Leora watched in awe. "They are working with us," she said softly, "not because we are humans, but because we are reasoning with them. They understand collaboration." The team continued their observations as night fell. The valley glowed under the light of bioluminescent plants and creatures. The humans set up camp, exhausted but exhilarated. They had faced challenges that would have killed less intelligent explorers, yet they had survived and thrived through cooperation and understanding. Leora sat by the campfire, reviewing the day's data. The eco-simulator had recorded hundreds of interactions. Patterns were emerging. Creatures communicated through vibration, color shifts, and subtle gestures. Humans could respond, learn, and adapt. The lessons were clear. Aggression was unnecessary. Intelligence and empathy were powerful tools. Kai leaned back, staring at the glowing valley. "I never thought I'd see the day when humans could negotiate with predators instead of fighting them." "Humans always find a way," Leora said, smiling. "We don't rely on strength. We rely on thinking, on understanding. That is how we survive and how we thrive." The morning sun rose over V. Rylox Prime, but it brought an uneasy stillness. The glowing forest shimmered faintly, and the rivers reflected light in jagged patterns, as if warning of danger. The humans had woken early, scanning the horizon. Something was wrong. Dr. Leora Kane stood at the edge of the camp, eyes trained on distant mountains. "The planet is shifting," she said, her voice tense but calm. "I don't know what exactly, but this is not natural. Prepare for a possible disaster." Kai Rivera frowned. "How bad can it be?" "Bad enough that we need to rely on more than just technology," Leora replied. "We will need their help, the creatures' help." The humans gathered quickly. loading portable scanners, eco-simulators, and emergency supplies. The creatures they had befriended the previous day appeared at the edge of the camp, cautious but alert. Leora stepped forward and activated the eco-simulator, sending gentle pulses. The creatures responded in kind, approaching closer than usual. "They sense it too," Leora said softly. "They know something is happening." The first tremor came without warning. The ground shook violently, tossing loose rocks and sending smaller creatures scurrying for safety. Trees bent and swayed, their glowing leaves scattering light like fireworks. The humans held onto the eco-simulator for stability, while the creatures moved instinctively, guiding their young and smaller companions toward safer areas. "Follow them," Leora shouted. "They know the terrain better than we do." The humans moved cautiously, letting the creatures lead. The quadrupeds they had observed in Shadow Valley carried debris and guided humans through safer paths. The flying creatures helped scout ahead, signaling dangerous zones with sharp glows. The tremors grew stronger. Floating rock spires shifted and tilted dangerously. Rivers rose suddenly, carrying debris and glowing sediments downstream. It was chaos, yet humans and creatures acted in unison. The humans' intelligence and tools combined with the creatures' instincts and agility. Together, they began to navigate the disaster. Leora directed a team toward a cliffside where several smaller creatures were trapped. Using a combination of drones and the eco-simulator, they signaled the predators to lift and guide the creatures to safety. The creatures responded instantly, carefully moving the stranded animals away from the collapsing cliff. Dr. Malin Joe watched, astonished. "They are helping us as much as we are helping them. This is incredible," Kai added. "It's like we're all part of the same team. Not predator and prey, just intelligent beings working together." Hours passed in tense coordination. Humans and creatures moved through the trembling landscape, avoiding falling debris, molten rivers, and collapsing cliffs. Each challenge demanded quick thinking and immediate adaptation. When a bridge of floating rock began to topple, the humans rigged a temporary pulley system, while the creatures adjusted their positions to stabilize it. When a river flooded suddenly, the creatures lifted smaller humans and animals over dangerous currents. Leora marveled at the cooperation. "This is what humans can do," she said. "We do not dominate, we think. We observe. We adapt. And when we combine our intelligence with theirs, there is nothing we cannot overcome." By late afternoon, the tremors culminated in a massive eruption from a nearby volcanic spire. Lava flowed across one side of the valley, cutting off paths and threatening countless creatures. The humans coordinated with the predators, forming a living network of guidance. The quadrupeds carried smaller creatures on their backs, while humans cleared debris and built makeshift bridges. The flying creatures scouted for escape routes and communicated hazards with bright, pulsing lights. Leora led the final group, using the eco-simulator to signal safe passages. She paused briefly, scanning the chaos. "This is the moment we prove why humans belong in the galaxy," she said. "Not with weapons, but with thinking, planning, and courage." A young predator approached, its movements careful but urgent. It nudged Leora toward a narrow canyon leading to safety. She understood immediately and signaled the team to follow. The humans and creatures passed through the canyon, just as a river of molten lava cascaded down the mountainside behind them. Sparks and glowing rocks flew through the air, but everyone made it across safely. When the last member reached solid ground, the humans looked back. The valley, once vibrant, was now partially destroyed, but no life was lost. The creatures gathered around the humans, their massive bodies moving gently, as if acknowledging a shared triumph. For the first time, humans and Virilox Prime's predators existed not as observer and observed, but as allies in survival. Exhausted but exhilarated, Leora surveyed the scene. "They did not need to trust us," she said softly, "but they chose to. That choice, that is respect. That is understanding." Kai nodded, still catching his breath. We didn't fight them, we worked with them, and together we survived what no one thought possible. Dr. Joe added, this changes everything. We have always assumed intelligence and power were about domination. But maybe they are about connection, about collaboration. As night fell, the humans and creatures made camp on higher, safer ground. Fires of bioluminescent plants glowed softly around them. The humans prepared food and tools while the creatures rested, their massive bodies forming a protective perimeter. The two species had formed an unspoken bond, a partnership forged in crisis, intelligence, and respect. Leora sat quietly, reflecting on the day. Humanity had always faced impossible odds. On Earth, humans had survived predators, disease, and disasters not because they were the strongest, but because they could think, adapt, and cooperate. That same skill had brought them across the galaxy and allowed them to survive on Rylox Prime. She looked at her team. Remember this, she said. This is what it means to be human. Not size, not strength, not weapons. Thinking, reasoning, courage, and empathy. That is our advantage. That is why the galaxy will never truly underestimate us. Kai smiled. So we declared war on the deadliest creatures and didn't even fire a shot. Leora laughed softly. Exactly. We didn't declare war. We declared understanding. And that is far more powerful than any weapon. The next morning, as the humans prepared to return to Elysium Hub, the creatures gathered near the edge of the camp. Some nudged the humans gently, others shifted colors in patterns that seemed almost like a farewell. Leora activated the eco-simulator one last time, sending a final message. Thank you. We will not forget this. The creatures responded, a gentle ripple of movement and light that humans instinctively understood as acknowledgement. Humans had entered a world of monsters and left with allies. They had faced the galaxy's deadliest creatures, and in doing so, they had proven the true power of humanity. As the shuttle lifted off, humans watched the valley below. The damage from the disaster was evident, but life persisted. The predators and other creatures moved cautiously, learning and adapting just as humans had. Leora felt a sense of pride. The galaxy had doubted them, mocked them, and even feared them. But humans had shown that intelligence, patience, and empathy could overcome the impossible. Back on Elysium Hub, the live feed displayed the humans' success. Alien delegates were silent at first, then erupted into murmurs of admiration. What they had expected to be a disaster, a human attempt to challenge the deadliest creatures, had turned into a demonstration of brilliance. Humans did not conquer. They learned. They understood. And in that understanding, they triumphed. Leora addressed the conference, her voice calm but full of authority. The galaxy often measures strength by weapons, by size, by firepower. Humans measure strength differently. We measure it by thought, creativity, and the ability to collaborate. Today, we have shown that even in the face of creatures deemed unbeatable, understanding and intelligence are stronger than fear or aggression. The delegates looked on, many taking notes, others simply watching in awe. Humans had redefined what it meant to survive, to thrive, and to influence the galaxy. Kai whispered to Leora, "Do you think they'll ever understand that we never really declared war?" Leora smiled. "I don't think they will, and that's okay. Sometimes the galaxy needs a little mystery to see the truth." The humans returned to their ship, ready to report their findings, but knowing something deeper had been achieved. They had not just survived. They had built bridges between species, between minds, and between worlds. Humanity had proven, once again, that even the smallest and seemingly weakest could shape the galaxy, not through force, but through intelligence, empathy, and courage. And somewhere in the forests and cliffs of Rylox Prime, the creatures they had met would remember them too, not as intruders, not as threats, but as allies, thinkers, and friends. The galaxy had witnessed humanity at its best. And from this day forward, the humans of the Odyssey would be remembered, not for the wars they fought, but for the minds they inspired.